This is ACOFAE.
Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Collection of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from Mockingjay Part 1 along with the Hunger Games series, with mentions of The Expanse, Saved, and The Vampire Diaries. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi everybody, welcome to ACOFAE, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing the movie Mockingjay Part 1.
And I love that we're continuing the series. I feel like it's still timely, although it's 2026 when we're recording this, so not so dystopian. But when you first saw this, Laura, you said that you saw this in theaters. So this came out in theaters, like the book came out in 2010. Mockingjay Part 1 came out in 2014. What was that experience like? How did, share with us?
That was crazy. Okay. It was a packed theater. Absolutely packed to the gills. This was before my particular theater implemented assigned seating. So it was like balls to the walls, like you're fighting for your seats.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And I had editor Sam with me and we were like, we had to get our seats together. This particular theater, very small theater. So it was also something that we were very conscious of. It was one of those movies where it felt like you were. It was one of those big movies where it felt like you were part of something, right? It was like one of those Harry Potters, one of those Twilights. Like this is one of those big franchises. So like to go see it, like while it was coming out, you were part of something. Unfortunately, fortunately, two things can be true at the same time. This movie can be very important, have a fantastic message, have a very important message, and have like very timely commentary on what life is like in 2026, and also be a bad movie. It's not a good filmmaking wise. It's not a good movie. It's not great, which is shocking, I think, if you look at it on paper.
For me, this is the first time that I watched it for this episode. I know that we chatted before we started recording. I didn't watch Mockingjay in theaters, or at all, honestly, because there was something that happened in the books, in book 1, that didn't wind up happening in the movie 1. But I knew from the books what happened in book 1 was necessary to the overarching plot that was going to happen in book 3. So therefore, knowing that it didn't happen in the first movie, I was like, well, I'm not even going to bother, because I was like, it wasn't going to happen. Now I'm so far removed from the books because I just don't remember all of the little details that I was able to enjoy. I also think that there was a time where you were saying, like, it was a bad movie. Sometimes those are the good movies. I don't know.
False. This is a bad filmmaking movie.
I don't think I thought much. I don't think I was having and maybe that's what it is. I didn't have expectations to begin with. Therefore, because I had none, I was like, oh, it's fine. It's good. This is why I'm not a critic.
I feel like the movie making process of this movie is just not great. There are some wild cuts. There are some absolutely like crazy decisions for the camera and the sets. But and the order of some of these scenes. But it is so important as a message. And again, I want to emphasize that I watch this movie, like all of these movies, like kind of yearly. I kind of go through my Hunger Games cycle and I bust out all of these movies, all five, soon to be 6. Very exciting. But that's not because they are the pinnacle of filmmaking. It is because the message is so important. And the message now is really close to the message of 2026. And it is not enjoyable to watch this movie in, just as you said, in like an escapism sort of way. I'm watching this now as like we are so fucking close to this kind of way. And it is just wild that in a little over 10 years since this movie has come out, that has happened. Like, this came out in 2014. Wild shit. Specifically November 21st, 2014. That is important. We'll discuss the date later. But just crazy shit. Wild emotions watching this.
Yeah, because I mean, again, before we started recording, there was the scene where Katniss is in District 8 and she's giving her speech and it's not scripted and they just bombed a hospital and she's giving a speech to, I'm going to rename President Snow Dictator Snow, because that shit is what he is. And again, it's very, not too far from home from where we are recording. And with what's going on in 2026 for where, Laura and I are recording from. So it's just, there's a lot of stress. It's not enjoyable. I found myself tearing up. Whereas I know when I initially read the books, there was like, you wanted to fight. You were like ready to start a revolution, but it was all on paper. And it was just this, again, it was dystopian, and I use that in air quotes for a reason, because it wasn't real life, or so we thought then, because the message is still the same. You're still fighting for what to believe in. And speaking of fighting, it felt like it felt difficult to even try to watch this when we were trying to figure out where we can screen it. Because I wound up watching it through Amazon Prime. But you and I were both going back and forth, getting different messages, getting different links. We were getting the runaround before we should even try to watch this. And that alone, you're like, what are you doing? Why is it this hard to watch something? Why are you? And it wasn't like a licensing thing either. It was just kind of, that's interesting.
I got 2 kickback screens from both from Amazon. One said that this Mockingjay Part 1 was now a Paramount Plus exclusive, and I had to do that to watch it. The second one said that this was unavailable to me in my country because this was an international title. And then the third one said, yeah, you can rent this for $2. Wild runaround. Absolutely insane to be so difficult to watch a movie about rising up against your government. Wild shit, and makes the fucking case for physical media. Buy this, have it, keep it, save it, because who fucking knows what happens? Maybe they edit the shit out of this, in years to come, and it is not the same. So I think having physical copies of your favorite classics and your favorite movies and a way to watch them, I think that is also something that people just don't think about, is that yes, you can have this massive collection of a thing, but you also need to have a thing to play your massive collection. Yeah. And that thing has to be in excellent working order, and you need to be able to sustain and repair that thing, because your massive collection, unless you take the time to move it to another format, is not changing, right? But technology is changing. So you need to be able to play your physical media. And I really, really feel like that part of the conversation is not discussed at all. And people just have stacks and stacks and stacks of things with like one VCR. Okay, that's gonna go, like, that is going to go.
For those listening, a VCR is a device.
Yeah,
from
that's
a very
what I'm
long time ago.
Like, that is going to go away forever soon. Like, you're going to need to be able to, like, make that, source that, have a way to repair that, move your collection over to, well, not DVD, shit, unless you can do that. Maybe Blu-ray, right? Like, you need to...
And I mean, the access to the devices, I feel like, is becoming fewer and far between. Yeah. Because I mean, you and I have had, you're like, you have this whole DVD collection, but why am I keeping all these DVDs? I don't even have a DVD player or Blu-ray. And that used to be something that was integrated at least with like your computer hardware. And then that became obsolete. And now you have to get like a secondary hard drive to play these things. Or again, like you were saying, like if you go to a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, like a secondhand store, you can find some of these devices there, also not regularly, but also you don't know if they're in working order until you get home. So being able to maybe learning a new skill set and seeing what might need to be repaired isn't such a bad thing. I just think it's, like you said, kind of weird that it became really hard to find accessibility for this movie about rising against your government because they're fucking everybody over. And that's something that, is, reiterated throughout the whole thing. Katniss is saying, like, you think they're not going to do it? They just did. And actually, let me show you again. Like, there is no dancing around this. There's no exaggeration. This is what happened. And government, this is what is happening.
Again, this movie's not enjoyable in a haha, let's rise up kind of way anymore. So let's start with, I think, one of my favorite cold opens, honestly. I love this. I think it sets the tone perfectly for the movie. Of course, Finnick. Of course, drops bangers. Of course, it's Finnick. But before we get there, cold open, Katniss is freaking out in her little tunnel. Things that are real. That's Peeta's thing. That becomes special later, but we have it here. Katniss is freaking out, as she should, as is her right. As is her right. She has been through enough. My favorite moment here, we can help you sleep. Oh, bitch. Be less creepy. Be less spooky.
You want me to trust you? After that, like, that was my thing. Of course she's hiding. Of course she's hiding. Of course she's trying to ground herself. Of course we can help you sleep. I think the fuck not. Actually, I'm never going to sleep again. Like, that is just crazy shit. And now you're trying to lure me out by saying that I don't want to sleep. I don't trust you enough to sleep.
Yep. So what happens? She goes into her hospital room. She wakes up confused. Why? I don't. The timing here and the cuts, again, not excellent. Out of our hospital, we go to Finnick. We yell at Finnick for some reason. Very sensitive to Finnick's mental state. Finnick! Excellent, Katniss. But Finnick dropping the bombs. I wish they were dead, and I wish we were too. I mean, and then it's just like, boom, title card. Like, it's excellent.
Fair. That's all I can think of is fair, because
1,000.
At the same time, I feel like, and I'm sure that your dad has shared this with you, but there's there is, when it comes to being a woman anywhere, and it comes to, life-saving advice, they tell you, if you ever get kidnapped, if you ever get taken, don't go to the secondary location. There are things worse than death. That secondary location is one of them. If you ever get taken, if you're ever in a car, these are like life skills. Crash the car and die. And that's exactly what I was thinking of when Finnick was like, I wish they were dead, because he knows what the Capitol will do.
Oh, he knows.
And like, that's just like where my mind went. And again, this isn't dystopian anymore. And maybe in some cases it never was. We're just becoming more aware and educated of how to protect ourselves.
Well,
again, not this like, oh my gosh, let's watch Mockingjay kind of episode.
Yeah. No, it's
heavier.
I mean, it's not a fun movie. It not anymore. And when it came out, it shouldn't have been. We shouldn't. This should have been a warning.
It was 24. It came out in 2014. You weren't.
She was trying to tell us.
And then that's why we have our fifth book now, where she's like, "Oh, you didn't believe you guys are simping for Dictator Snow? Let me double down here."
Yep. Oh, that also, Snow's book also kind of haunts the narrative. Of course it does. But this is also the movie where Haymitch's book deeply haunts the narrative. Jess hasn't read that book, but I will point out the moment, the big one. I mean, everybody knows it anyway if you've read that book, but I'll point it out just for...
Don't spoil it for me, people. I know Laura won't, but I'm saying, like, if anybody is reaching out to us, please don't spoil it. Because we will read that book later this year, and that episode will come out later.
Yes. Okay. So I wish they were dead. I wish we were all dead, and I wish they were too. I love it. I love it. Boom, cold open. We're brushing Katniss's hair, Prim. Okay, fine. But to the bunker that is stacked with the biggest, enormous balls of this cast. Oh my God, it is amazing. Just take us through this Oscar, like. There are Oscars here.
That was the thing. Again, remember, this was the first time I watched it twice for this episode, and I just didn't realize how stacked it was. I go, these are people I know. And they're at a point that it wasn't we knew them then and we didn't know who they are, and now we know them. No. Because, I mean, yes, we had Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Liam, and Woody. Woody Harrelson, Donald Sutherland, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Julianne Moore makes an appearance finally as President Alma Coyne for District 13. We have, Elizabeth Banks comes back, but then we have our propaganda team. We have Mahershala Ali. We have Natalie Dormer. We have, Evan Ross, Eldon Henson, Wes Chatham.
Wes Chatham. That is who I wanted to discuss very quickly. He is one of the stars of The Expanse, which, if you are not aware, is one of the best, greatest TV shows ever. I believe there are 6 seasons of The Expanse. Check that shit out. It is noir sci-fi.
It's on Amazon Prime. It used to be on Sci-Fi, I feel. I might have made that up.
Yes, and it was canceled, and then Amazon picked it up because Jeff liked it. He picked it up, and they completed it, but they were not going to continue it because it's honestly just really fucking expensive. And
he has the money.
If you
have the money, just like if I had the money and I really liked something, I'd throw money at it too. It's like if I had the money the way he does, I'd be like, here you go, make it good. Like everybody talks about, SJM universe, and you have to do it in the right thing. With Jeff Bezos' money, make it how it should be made, which is animated.
Make it how it should be made. Yeah, which is animated. Come on, Jeff. Ugh, God. Anyway, The Expanse. Check that shit out. It is remarkable sci-fi. And if you want to talk about a stacked cast, that one has my absolute queen in it, and she will knock your socks off while she is wearing those gravity boots. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay, back to Mockingjay. The cast, Jessica Marie, while being stacked, we have not even Stanley Tucci. We haven't said everybody.
Oh yeah, we have Stanley Tucci. I mean, again, like all of our heavy hitters are returning. Elizabeth Banks, Stanley Tucci. I feel like maybe now I've mentioned Sam Claflin, like we knew that. I think I got them all.
Joanna.
Oh, yeah. How am I forgetting Joanna?
We love Joanna. If you love Joanna, then you would love our saved episode because, Jenna Malone is our girl here on ACOFAE. Okay. So what happens in this first meeting where Boggs has taken Katniss, and we're introduced to President Coyne? So funny, President Coyne, President Snow, 2 sides of the same. It's on the nose, but we love it. But what happens in this meeting with Plutarch, Beatty, Coyne, and Katniss? It is just... It really does set the tone because Julianne Moore has to try to act this badly.
And essentially, Plutarch is saying, hey, here's Katniss. She's going to be our voice. She's going to be our Mockingjay. And Katniss is over here PTSDing again. Rightfully so. And she wants to get all pissed about it. She being Julianne Moore, President Coin. That's not the same. She's different. Both the Hunger Games and the Quarter Quell fucked her up. Like you're a lot of talk. She's just so out of her mind. We can't use her as the symbol of the revolution like we were hoping to. More or less.
Which also, I think, again, just the filmmaking of it. Like, hey, Katniss, I know you're freaking out all the time. Patch that shit up. Get it together. We need you to make a bunch of commercials. We need you to make some commercials to rally the people. I thought this was a weird concept when I read the books. I thought it was weird when I saw the movie in 2014. I still think it's weird. But again, how else, in the context of this world, how else are you going to get that message out to everybody? They need a lightning. I just feel like it is so strange that, like, imagine this meeting from Katniss's point of view, right? Freaking out, not having a good mental health day. Hello, president of the place that I'm staying at. What do you want me to do? You want me to dress up and rally the revolution? What? What? Are you shitting me?
Also, what revolution? I've been passed out.
Yeah. It's very much like, hey, how you're doing? We got to get to business. And Plutarch explains that away by saying, like, they need to capitalize on the momentum of everything, like, just happening. It's just wild. It's wild. But what is happening? Julianne Moore, so helpful. Thank you, plot device, to tell us, the viewer, what has been happening since Katniss got out. There have been riots and uprisings in 7 districts, but we need to unify against the Capitol with this energy. And I love Katniss just being like, you fuckers left him there. Peeta was the one that was supposed to live. Katniss on her business. Priorities correct. In this moment, absolutely. Absolutely they are. You left Peeta because she had a deal. Right? Like, Peeta's always the one. Peeta gets out. Peeta's the good one. That is Katniss's, like, core belief, is that Peeta's the good one. Peeta gets out. And the fact that they left them there is the ultimate, like, I am so mad and disappointed kind of fuck you.
And here's the thing. They also knew that. Especially, like, Coin didn't, but Plutarch did.
Absolutely. Plutarch did, and Haymitch did too, and Haymitch was right there with all of this. So there's like no excuses for all of this bullshit. All of this happened because they didn't snatch him fast enough.
Yeah, and then when Julianne, then of course she walks away, she being Katniss, and then Coin goes, "Oh, we really should have just kept with Peeta." Yeah.
Yeah, bitch, that's what she wanted the whole time. Okay. I think it's very important. I have the dates. This is the time to talk about it. Philip Seymour Hoffman died February 2nd, 2014. This movie premiered November 21st, 2014. Okay, do your math here. He had almost shot all of the scenes for Mockingjay Part 2. There's tastefulness done in Part 2. Here, though, his acting choices are special and different and unique, and I think an indicator of the time that he was living in. Because this, like, weird shoulder situation that he kind of, like, shuffles over to Katniss in the very beginning, and then sort of his choices later on with him just, like, smacking his hand over his face. And if everybody was cracking up on set and that was well known, absolutely, 100%. I would love to see character breaks like that, but I don't think that was the case. So it's just one of those things where when you're aware, you're aware. But in this movie, I very much enjoy his humor. He's very funny in this movie, and I enjoy him scheming with all these women, because, like, he's scheming with Coin. He's like, nah, I know that Katniss is like. Actually, he says a really fantastic line. He goes, President Coin, people don't always show up the way that you want them, but, like, you have to work with what you have, more or less. And, like, I really like that. but he's scheming with coin, and he's like, hey, go traumatize her a little bit more and film that shit. And that's good. Like, remind him of who the real enemy is. Take her out in 12. Show her what happened. And just make sure you get that shit on camera.
Let's traumatize her some more by going to her district that she was like, what do you mean the Capitol took, like, leveled my district? Went there, massacred, like, literally, she's not standing on a pile of rubble. The rubble is skeletons. And that's kind of what convinces her to come back and say, like, fine, I'll be your Mockingjay. However, we have to get to the part where there's stipulations, because she's not like, I mean, Primrose being a real one, you're the fucking Mockingjay. You are Katniss Everdeen. You go in there. They need you more than you need them. You're ready to write everybody the fuck off. You make your agreements.
Going back to Katniss in 12 for a second, a lot of this movie, Jess and I were talking before we started recording, as we do, and a lot of this movie is visual, because obviously things happen, but like not a lot happens. Like, you can be very distilled with it, but it's very visual. There's a lot of long shots. There's a lot of like focusing on faces and all of these things. So a detail that I very much enjoy is that all of 12 is like completely decimated, right? Gale says that they like firebombed the whole fucking thing. But Katniss's house in Victory Village is unfucking touched. And that's on purpose. That's Snow. He's playing the game. He's playing the psychological game.
He leaves a rose there, too.
He leaves a live rose there. He knows eventually she's going to come back there. He knows that. So let's leave her house untouched. Let's let her know that I'm watching, that I see, but let's level every fucking thing around it. Let's play the psychological game. And that is kind of like where Snow's book is kind of hanging over this a little bit. And it's interesting with that kind of perspective, because you're just like, oh, he went to school for this. Okay, yeah, that's right. He did do that. So it is all very interesting kind of things here. Of course, she brings the cat back, going back to what Jess says about the stipulations, though, to agreeing to be the Mockingjay.
But real quick with the Snow thing, I think it's interesting. Like, we know that Snow is playing psychological warfare here, right? As well as real warfare. And it takes Katniss to the end of this movie to tell Finnick, oh, by the way, Snow is using our weakness against us, such as the people we love. So, like, Annie is being used against Finnick, and Peeta is using, and he's using Peeta against Katniss. And she goes, I'm just realizing this now. What?
Look,
what do you mean?
Look,
that was the first thing I go, okay, this all makes sense. It had always made sense. It had made sense in Catching Fire when they were using everything each other. And what do you mean? We're 3 movies, 3 books in, and you're like, oh, he did it with Magda too. Girly pop.
Look, she's not the bright. Like, it's okay. Everybody brings something different to the group, and Katniss brings a lot of physicality. And
I mean, look, that girl can do more than I ever could, so I cannot. But
not everybody can be a thinker. I guess. Peeta did a lot of the let's be so real. Peeta did a lot of the thinking. Okay.
He was there to survive. If he couldn't paint himself as a cake decorator, making himself a log, he can survive anything.
A log. Let's talk about a horrifying scene. The speech writing scene. Horrifying. Because I'm sure that's happening right now in 2026. I'm not using criminals. I need another word. I'm not using rebels. I'm not going to legitimize them. Criminals, radicals. Oh, it makes me sick.
Radicals. And then he was like, yeah, radicals works. This is against you.
Good. That's good.
Which is
shit.
Which is crazy when we're in 13 and they're calling their team the propaganda team, the propo team. I go, and then again, I was like, but this isn't propaganda. They're just showing the truth. That part was also like that. No, other way around. Other way around.
Other way around. And something that I also find lovely in this horrifying speech scene is after the speech is written, and of course, Donald is sitting there and he cuts his face. Don't let them see you bleed. Oh, he's so good. He's such a good actor. R.I.P. R.I.P. But when he is giving this speech, of course, again, a very visual movie. So everybody in all of the districts is required to march out to the square, and they have to watch this, on the big screens, just like on the Hunger Games and stuff. And they show all the different districts, all the different weather. They've got, quote, quote, criminals kneeling down with bags over their faces that are going to be executed. Essentially, when he gives like a verbal cue, good for him, timing. But what I really love about this is when Donald is giving the speech and he says like all association with the Mockingjay is going to be illegal. And his granddaughter is like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And she starts pulling like the symbol out of her hair and starts like unraveling like the braid, Katniss's braid. And it's just like, dude, like, I love that because like this is another kind of instance where it's like, all right, this is another generation like raised under oppression, raised in fear, like what's she gonna do? Like I'm interested in her story. What is she gonna do in all of this?
Because there was very full circle, because I think it was in the first movie and book that she was like, hey, Grandpa. And that's when he was realizing Katniss's impact on this younger generation. And it wasn't even at this like revolution yet. She was just participating in the first Hunger Games because it wasn't even the Quarter Quell. And that's when you and I had the discussion that that was Snow's indicator of Katniss's impact, because his granddaughter had been impacted and she was going to school and she was educating herself, which also meant that conversation was happening with the younger generation.
Conversation. Caesar Flickerman is having one with Peeta. And you know who's pissed about that? Gale. Gale has a problem with that. He goes, oh, he looks good. He must have cut a deal. Like, what a little asshole.
And you know what? I love Katniss right off the bat. She was like, fuck you. Fuck the horse you rode in on, because you don't know what these people are going through. You know nothing of the Capitol. You know nothing of what people are doing to survive the oppression and the abuse physically and psychologically going on there. So do not judge for what you don't know, because I don't even know what's going on. And I know like only a percentage because of what I've been shown.
He's just the worst. Peeta, brainwashed, looking great, though, calling for a ceasefire. Well, that pisses off all the Marines that basically make up 13. And they go, boo, 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 we don't like that. And just going back to what you said, it takes Prim being like, Katniss, you're a bad bitch. Fucking act like it. And Katniss being like, oh, yeah.
I am a bad bitch.
I am a bad bitch. And she goes in front of Julianne Moore. She's like, hey, I'm a bad bitch. And this bad bitch wants like 3 things, which is like way too few. Way too few. She should have like a list 20 deep and then we negotiate to 10. Like, come on. Okay, but she's not me. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. We have to rescue our tributes. All of them. We need to give them immunity, and we need to let my sister keep her cat. And Coin goes, ha ha ha, no, fuck, get fucked. And Plutarch goes, he makes this face like, oh shit. Oh, he makes that face. Oh, and he looks at Katniss, and Katniss doubles down as she does. And he goes, "That's it. That's our girl on fire. Isn't that what I promised you?" And Julianne Moore's like, "Yeah, I guess."
Which it's funny because Katniss was kind of shocked because she's like that list wasn't even that demanding. I think she was more shocked that they said no to her list. Because I think once that would have settled, she would have been like, okay, fine, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, and she would have walked.
Yeah, like, all right, get fucked. Find somebody else to do it. Oh, wait, you can't.
It was her, nobody has my impact. Who else are you going to find? Gale? Yeah. Gale's going to get people to uprise? Okay.
Fucking Gale? No. It's hilarious, and I love that Philip Seymour Hoffman is just like, oh, his face there, hilarious.
She told you.
She told you. There she is. Oh, God. R.I.P. R.I.P. Then he immediately goes to Emily Banks, who will not dig herself out of her little locker to participate in the world because she doesn't have wigs and clothes. I respect that shit. Although it's Elizabeth Banks, she looks amazing. Now, if you are interested at all in the casting of Haymitch's book, then you are aware of who is playing young Effie Trinket. And then you know that is the most perfect casting that has ever existed in all of movies. And you are aware that in the film promo still of that casting choice, she's wearing something on her head that resembles this. So it is fun. It is amazing. And it is something very much exciting to look forward to. But that is introduced here. And that is one of these like first little instances. And there's a couple more that I will point out later. Elizabeth Banks, though, is like, hey, fuck off. And Philip Seymour Hoffman is like, everyone is replaceable. and Effie is like, really? Really? No, she's fantastic. She's like, do you think anybody in this dungeon knows Katniss like me? No, I'll do it. Amazing. Amazing.
And Effie has earned Katniss's trust because she was very much somebody that Katniss dismissed. You're just a figurehead for the Capitol. You're just kind of here. I don't really think much of you. And then we have here in Mockingjay Part 1 where you see Katniss run to her. She was just like thrilled to see somebody that she knew, somebody who knew her, somebody who survived. And in a way, like, you have Effie who is trying to be blasé. She's like, I'm here because I have to be. I'm like a political, what did she try to call herself?
Refugee.
Yeah. And she was just, and everybody's like, no, you're here because you want to be. And she just tries to be blasé about like not wanting to be there. But really, this is also one of the first times that she's able to kind of lean into herself, lean into the cause, and have a voice against the Capitol without them knowing and her worrying about repercussions because she's already going through the repercussions.
Well, she drops a banger because, of course, she does everything old can be new again. Like democracy.
Yep, I wrote that down.
Like democracy. Excellent. Katniss, surprising no one, is really bad at fake promos, these propaganda commercials. She's really bad. Jennifer Lawrence is a good-ish actress, so it is her working her ass off to be that bad right there, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I love watching good actors try to act badly. Fantastic.
You're like, that takes work. That did not.
Yeah, it's so much work. It takes so much work to screw up that badly. Like, come on. Amazing. Slow clap introduction to Woody Harrelson. Hello, Haymitch. Nice to see you.
He's the perfect
He
Haymitch.
is sober. He is. He's perfect. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. His book is heartbreaking, so I can't wait to cry in the movie theater. I love that Haymitch is like, okay, Katniss kind of sucks as a person, and she's only good like in the moment. And I like Elizabeth Banks is so good as Effie is so good about that. She goes, "All right, Katniss, not one to waste it in rehearsal."
I thought they were trying to get her to run lines, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's right. She's a woman of her own word." But I love it. I do love how visceral Katniss can be. And it's also something that you're like, how can you go through these and be exposed to stuff like this and not have a visceral reaction? But they get what they want out of her because those bad promos and bad CGI was not, you wanted that to send a message? Okay.
Yeah, not good. Not good. It's bad. Haymitch has put her in the field. They put her in the field. They send her to 8. They send her to a hospital. They film her in the hospital. Katniss, what are you doing here? Katniss, are you going to fight? Katniss panicking. Katniss, where's the baby? Lost the baby. Fantastic. The panic in her eyes. That's amazing. But she rallies them, their silent rally cry, do, 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 do with the hands. Amazing. Very powerful. And what does Snow do? He sees it And his decision to bomb the hospital shocks his advisor, which, excellent. I love that his advisor was like, oh, damn, you're evil. Okay. Good to know. Clocking that. Evil. Good. It's also Donald Sutherland, so he's also scary when he says it. He's also calm and slightly smiling. Like,
he's manic.
Well,
I don't even want to say he's manic. I think the crazy comes from how at peace he is with making these decisions and these calls.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, kill them all. It's totally fine. Amazing. Snow bombs it. When he sees Katniss is alive, again, this is driving him crazy. This is his book haunting the narrative a little bit. Katniss gives a really fantastic speech. Jess, you said you teared up here. You want to take us through it?
I mean, I don't have it written down, but I think I teared up because of just how close to home it is. I've heard the speech. I've seen the speech. It's ingrained into pop culture. I've read the books. I think I've reread the books before. So I think just in today's political climate, it was just very fresh, very raw. And I thought it was also interesting that you have like this, you have Cressida and her team. And I think it's also important to note that here you are in this revolution and you have Katniss as the symbol, but there's multiple people doing the uprising and everybody is doing the uprising in a different way. So, I mean, even today, it's like you have people in the streets, but not everybody is necessarily protesting. You have people who are educating. You have people who are doing research. You have people who are like studying law so they can protect the people who are doing the research. I think everybody is using their resources and how they can be part of a revolution and in a way that's impactful and not just performative. I think that's just as important because you have Cressida directing what's going on. You have Katniss saying the things. You have Beetee being behind the scenes with the tech and understanding the nuances to say like, okay, well, let's get this out to the districts. Like, let's get the messaging there. And then we're going to go ahead and infiltrate the district Capital One so they know what's being said. So nobody's hidden. We're not hiding this. They're going to know that we're going to stand on business. And I think that's just, you see that happening. You see that full force in this scene because you also have Cressida like asking her questions, getting her to evoke these emotions into words because Katniss is making everybody aware. You thought this was just in theory. This is actually what's happening. You have had the wool pulled over your eyes, and I'm here to show you. They're telling you one thing. This is reality. Because who just goes and bombs a hospital? Who is doing this? Because that government that you are scared of, you're scared of for a reason, and they want you scared. They don't want you to have a voice, and they don't want you to step up.
If we burn, you burn with us. Woo! Coin takes, credit for this.
Of course she does.
Says, look,
meanwhile, I have issues with Coin.
I do like how Plutarch and Effie are coaching Coin, and Plutarch's writing the speeches. Coin is like giving her like tips and pointers on how to be more personable in her speeches. And you see as the movie goes on, she's taking Katniss's hand. They're standing there together, as in this instance, and people are cheering. And later on, people are really cheering. It's just this like massive like raucous thing, and she is building up this like different kind of support than she had when she first started, and it was very like militaristic. And now we are seeing what power is doing to her in real time, and that is just so much fun. So much fun. We love that. We love that so much. So there are uprisings. There's uprising in the forest. The dam is bombed. We love that. Gale and Katniss have like a nice scene where they go hunting above ground. But then they come back and Caesar's back on with Peeta, and he doesn't look good anymore. Now he looks like shit. Now he's holding a white rose, right? And now Peeta is on TV and he's like, oh, well, Katniss is doing this. She's being forced. Katniss doesn't mean it. I don't mean it. And Gale sees this, sees how bad he looks, and he goes, that right there, that's a fucking coward right there. He's only defending himself. Everybody has a choice.
And again, Katniss stands on business against Gale and said, fuck you. You're talking about the same person who stood up for you when you were getting beaten on by the Capitol. That is still the same person. He is in survival mode. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors because that is still the same person, because look how terrified he looks. And this is when this is the same scene where you have District 13's like quote unquote propaganda getting, breaking the way into the system. And you see Peeta, his face drops because he's like, Katniss is alive. Holy shit, Katniss, are you there? Holy shit. Like, I mean, obviously he's not saying holy shit, but he's just saying like, once he knows she's alive and then also what's happening in the other districts, that's when he goes, they're headed to 13. Here's your heads up. They're going to bomb you guys.
Which again, they walk back into that. But right before that, we have Gale just taking the show. Gale's a scene stealer. We have Gale. He's a coward. Gale is the star of the propos when he takes everybody back to 12 and shows them all of the bones and tells them what happened. Gale is the one that says 915 out of 10,000 got out. Gale is the one that said, I knew you were going to kiss me. You only pay attention to me when I'm in pain, Katniss. Gale is the one that has to said, I would have to be dead to forget that you kissed me in this house. But don't worry, Katniss. I will be fine. This feeling will pass, Katniss. I will be fine over here alone forever. Shut up, Gale.
Good. Go.
Shut up,
go
Gale.
over there.
Go over there. Because we have to have the song. We have to sing the Hanging Tree song. If everyone is aware of that. Absolutely everybody knows what that song is. And then again, they go back, and this is just where you say, Katniss, they're coming. Katniss, they're coming. You'll all be dead by morning. And then we have a very long scene in the movie where Katniss, okay, I should be so clear about something. I am not a cat person. I find that their love is, as is their right, conditional. And I prefer something that worships me. So I like dogs. So when Katniss goes back for Prim, who went back for the fucking cat, I'm just like, oh my fucking God. Both of you. I'm going to kill both of you.
But if it was your dog, you would have.
I would say I wouldn't have left. It would not have been left. Let's just be so fucking real.
Right. My nephew would have been at your hip the entire time.
Yes.
Like, he would have never been like, oh, shit, my dog. No. He would have been with, he would have been like running with you, pulling you.
Yes. Yeah. In that situation, I would have a hip leash and he'd be in his harness. Like, let's be so fucking real. Cats are independent. Yes, cats are independent. So, of course, she has to go back and find the cat because the cat wouldn't come when it's called. I understand all of this. I'm just saying, if I were Katniss, I would have killed fucking both of them. But then,
here's my other thing. Now you're wasting time yelling at each other after you found her still. Go and do the reprimanding after you get to where you need to be.
Go. God.
That was also a very bad cat to begin with. I want the cat that's just glued, because there are some cats that are just all they need to do, or they're just up in you. And my niece's cat is one of them. One of her cats is like that, where he's just he needs to be on you at all times, and you're like, I have to work.
See, that's what we love. We love that. Scene that I really enjoy is Katniss teasing the cat with the flashlight, simply because that's cut right from the books. And I appreciate that. I like when they cut scenes for scene in that situation. This is her revelation of oh my God, they're using our loved ones against us. Oh my God. And she goes to Finnick and she's like, oh my God. Which is funny. I find it funny. Finnick, though, dropping bombs. Katniss, pull your shit together. It takes 10 times longer to put yourself together when you completely fall apart. Get your shit together. Let's go.
Not wrong.
Mm-hmm. Not wrong.
I love Finnick. Oh, I'm going to be hating next time we watch.
Yep. They say, Katniss, you need to go out and tell Snow that we're alive. Katniss goes out. Snow has bombed the area with white roses. Katniss, rightly so, freaks out. But Finnick steps up and Finnick goes, hey, everybody, I was a district whore. Let's talk about it in detail, excruciating detail. Let's go. And while he is doing that, Gale et al., except Katniss, are going to rescue Peeta, Joanna, and Annie from the Capitol, which doesn't have power because of the uprising that has cut the power from the dam. They are working within a set window. Can I tell you I sang the song Video Phone? My video phone. Katniss needs to get Snow on the video phone. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, before like FaceTiming was a thing, she was like, Dictator Snow, it's Katniss Everstein. Hey, Snow.
Can you hear me?
How about
on the video phone? Hilarious.
And, and they had to pivot to Finnick because Katniss crashed out. She couldn't say her lines, her propaganda lines. And so they replaced it. But Finnick also has a story to tell, and your heart breaks for him. But they're like, his story to tell is going to buy us time because everybody's going to be entranced into the story, not thinking, or so we think, that there's this whole covert operation happening.
And so it's like, don't you think I know that your friends are rescuing everybody? Don't you think I'm aware of that, Katniss, because we're on video phone? And then he says the sassiest thing in the world. He goes, it's the things that we love that destroy us, or it's the things we love the most that destroy us. I want you to remember that I said that shit, Katniss. Underline that shit in red. I want you to remember that because that's a banger line, Katniss.
And then screens go white, and now Katniss freaks out again to Haymitch, which I think her acting is impeccable here. Her meltdown, thinking like now she just lost the loves, I say multiple, of her life between Gale and Peeta, because she's just like, she's still caught between this childhood love, even though she knows she loves Peeta. She just cares for Gale differently.
Jess was arguing a little bit earlier that the book is always better than the movie.
I was arguing that.
She's saying that, the books are always better than the movie. Books are always better at the movie. 99% of the time, I would absolutely agree with you. I disagree with you about the Hunger Games trilogy. Specifically because Katniss's running inner monologue about if she should love Gale or if she should love Peeta is so fuck all annoying. You are in a revolution. You are in a revolution. Please focus, Katniss.
I don't even remember that from the books.
It's like every spare moment she's like, oh my god. And as a Vampire Diaries / Originals lover, of course we know the answer. We know what to say when you are trying to choose is...
Why choose? Triangle is the strongest shape. They can get over their shit. And look, they don't even have to be a throuple. Honestly, she just could be like, okay, you're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Sundays are my day of rest.
It's okay to love them both.
I know I did.
It's okay to love them both, Katniss. Just shut up. You don't have to choose. Just go to Paris and everyone can just be done with this.
We have a revolution to fight. Go to Paris.
We have a revolution to fight. Oh my God. Please focus.
I completely forgot her internal monologue. But I think you bring up a good point because we've talked about I feel that way with Devil Wears Prada. But I also didn't remember the internal dialogue. And I go back to saying I'm so far removed from the details of the books that I now find the movies enjoyable with the same underlying message of stand up, have a revolution against a government that wants to oppress you.
Absolutely. All right. So what happens? We're at the end of this. What happens? President Snow says, underline that shit in red, Katniss. I want you to remember that. That goes back to his book, which is, again, but Anna's out. Joanna's out. Annie's out, Joanna's out, and Katniss is in the hospital. She's like, ha, 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 where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And Gale is like, he's in there, blah, blah, blah. He's unconscious, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, it was fucking weird, Katniss. They just let us out. All the cameras came back on, all of the guns powered down. They let us come out. Something is wrong. And Katniss is like, yeah, I hear you, whatever. And then just like goes right into Peeta.
I will say, as much as we love Gale slander here, I'm not saying it's right, but he in his own way, like you said, when he was like, something is amiss, I don't know what it is, because at the end of the day, regardless of his personal feelings with Peeta, he still cares for Katniss in his own weird way. Granted, it's those relationships that are like, that want to stifle you, and I want to love you the version that I love you, not these various versions of you changing. Very much like Stefan and Elena, since you brought up, Vampire Diaries. However, again, this is his version to be like, just, I don't know what you're walking into. So just mentally prepare yourself for that. Because what she's walking into, he's been brainwashed by Tracker Venom to be like,
completely.
They call it hijacking. Yeah, they hijacked his brain to be triggered like a sleeper agent. The second he sees Katniss, he goes in fight or flight mode and wants to kill her.
Yep. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman here. They have, after Katniss is fucking brutally strangled to unconsciousness by Peeta, and she wakes up, she can't speak, she's in this like neck brace looking
cone of shame,
horrible thing. Yeah, it's just awful. Everybody's having like a meeting, like a come to Jesus meeting in her hospital room. Wild. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's sitting there with a little fucking grin on his face, like, hey, it's new terrain. Whatever. I'm optimistic. We got best doctors. We're good. We're on this. Don't worry about it. It's good. It's good. Are you shitting me, sir? It is not good. But he's not worried. You look at his face, he's got a little smile on it. It's new terrain. It's fine. It's fine. We'll work on it.
That man is never bothered this entire movie. Talking this through and watching it twice, I'm like, Plutarch has not a care in the world. He really is riding and coasting on his own personal high.
Yeah. Except when the bombing happens, he does freak out with all of the loud noises when the bombing happens. That's the only time that he is not chilled to the gills here. Chill to the gills, for sure, for sure.
Chill to the gills.
Chills to the gills. So we have, we're done with this. Coin comes out cheering, wild cheering, right? Huge cheering. We have conquered injustice. We have let the victors out. Everything is good. We join hands for the fight. This is Plutarch, and he's miming the speech as she says it. She goes, one people, one army, one voice. Today, the victors. Tomorrow, Panem. And everyone's like, woo, ha, woo, or hoorah, hoorah, the Marines, hoorah, hoorah. Everybody's chanting, and then Katniss goes to see Peeta, and he's just freaking out in his padded cell. He's real thin. His head looks like a little bobble doll, and he's just like, blah! And then it goes, bam! And then it goes, in memory of Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's how the movie ends. It's 2 hours. It is a 2-hour movie. And it is necessary for Mockingjay Part 2 to like make sense, and I do feel like you need all of this to like really have the final movie like really make sense, because I remember at the time everyone's like, why are you splitting it up and all this, but I think it's necessary. I wouldn't want to sit through 4 hours, so this is good, and you needed a lot of this, and a lot of this is useful in the second movie. Wild to watch this in 2026. That is for sure.
Yeah, it's not so dystopian in 2026. And also interesting, because I was thinking about how the difficulty we had in accessing this to stream. And here I am thinking like, if the studio who owns the rights was smart, they would do a limited edition weekend stream if they want. But like, also they don't want people to have this messaging because the messaging isn't dystopian anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going into it. Again, physical media. I really, really feel like we need to be like really weird doomsday like preppers and have all of this physical media with a way to play it, because it's going to get weird, I think, before it gets better. And during the weirdness, I think having everything that brings you any ounce of comfort with you that cannot be tampered with is something that is really important, because like, oh, I own the digital copy. Bestie, no, you don't.
Well, I mean, hello,
No,
you learned
don't.
that with like, even with the simplest thing with your Audible, when you transferred from, when you moved back to the States, all of your Audible copies that you had, they did say you no longer have access to them. You cannot transfer them to the States. You need to repurchase everything. So you have been selective of, and that's so you only own the licensing in a certain amount of time. So yeah. So, and it's interesting because when everything started going digital, everybody was like, oh, you'll always be able to access it. You'll always be able to access it. No, you won't. Because even as far as like Donnie Darko, you and I had discussed that you have different copies, that because even music licensing, if you don't have the licensing in perpetuity, then you have different songs that are playing in different times. Or to what Laura said earlier this episode, this may be edited. You already have movies, if you like watch them on like cable television, that they go like, this was edited to format this programming slot, which is likely less than what the movie is. So a lot of content is already edited, and that was before 2026, before the world in which we live in today. So it's just, what did you say a couple episodes ago? Get your kicks in 2026, and maybe just make sure you have the physical copy to keep getting them.
Especially if you have a copy of Spice World. That's the Easter egg. That's the rare one. I have it. Jessica Marie gave it to me.
It was like one of your birthday presents.
That does not exist on streaming. You can only have that in a physical copy. So, that is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Because while we would love to do an episode on Spice World, and I'm sure one day we will, it is not available. And that is an accessibility issue, and that sucks. So again, physical media and a reliable way to play it, I think, is the way to go.
With that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Please feel free to rate us 5 stars and leave a review wherever your listening platforms are. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.